Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of conversation happening right now about Sweet Baby Inc. Now, we just recently had our podcast, Saturday Night Hypnosis, where we all got together and spoke about Sweet Baby Inc. And it was interesting conversation. And I want to keep the convo going because this company, Sweet Baby Inc., is so corrupted, it is beyond ridiculous.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
So I have an article here from Bounding Into Comics. It is from last year, admittingly November, but it goes to show how far back Sweet Baby Inc. has been doing what they've been doing, and it gives really good information and detail over what this company has done so far recently and what they plan to do with their mission statement and whatnot. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So the headline reads, Opinion, Sweet Baby Inc., the company responsible for victim mentality in video games. Now, right off the bat, I just want to be very clear. Sweet Baby Inc. has probably one of the worst logos I've ever seen with one of the worst names I've ever seen. If you guys pay attention to their logo, it is extremely creepy. I don't really know what else to say about it other than that. It says video game storytelling often falls short, to say the least. Even the most celebrated stories within gaming merely scrape the surface of what storytelling could achieve in this medium. Most video game stories are just bad or badly executed. Titles such as The Last of Us, God of War, the recent Deus Ex games, and other PlayStation exclusives emphasizing narrative adhere to the bare minimum, a standard that first semester screenwriting students must follow. The only reason for this deficiency in video game storytelling is twofold. First, the industry has historically evolved without much consideration for the narrative, often treating it as an afterthought. Many games approach the storytelling as a mere appendage, tacked on after the gameplay loop or level design. It serves as little more than connective tissue to bind levels together. Now, I don't know if The Last of Us and God of War is good examples to use when talking about just bare minimum storytelling. I feel like those games are actually pretty good in their narrative overall. Are they like complete bangers? I don't really know. I think I would probably say The Last of Us has more of an impactful story overall than God of War, but still, they're both very good stories. They're not exactly great examples of what Sweet Baby Inc. is trying to do because there is so many other better examples of Sweet Baby Inc. destroying video games. I mean, they're the ones who are responsible for the recent Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They're the reason why the game took that turn for the worse, and they're the reason why that game is dead right now, and they have had their hands in plenty of other games. You know what I mean? Like, you have Tifa being censored in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for the simple reason that the ethics department, which takes consultation from Sweet Baby Inc., decided that it was in the best interest to do so. They do these things time and time again. It says, on the other hand, human resources and its proclivity to bureaucratize competence rather than prioritizing seasoned storytellers, HR leans towards hiring individuals based on their degrees, such as English literature. While this might suffice for writing item and mission descriptions, it falls short when crafting a compelling narrative, let alone weaving the storytelling into the gameplay loop. Now, we know that they have hiring issues, okay? Every single one of these companies, especially Western developers, have hiring problems because they're hiring with DEI in mind. They're hiring people who are extra cheap also in mind, and they're making sure that when they hire people, it is literally the bare minimum. They want to make sure that this person can get by just barely while also checking off as many boxes as humanly possible. And if you look at some of these gaming development studios, like 95% of them are women. It's ridiculous how many women are in the gaming development space right now. And I'm not saying women ruin everything, but like my boy Atreus says, women ruin everything. It says only in recent memory, like the examples listed above, did the industry shift to commissioning a script prior to development. Games like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy seamlessly integrated character development into the gameplay loop. That is because character came before gameplay, allowing developers to merge both. Now, however, the industry still appears primed for a third party to revolutionize storytelling methods within this medium. The objective is clear: to seamlessly integrate narrative into gameplay. This task should be relatively straightforward for storytellers who are also gamers, offering ample room for innovative approaches. Now, before we talk about that, let's just hit the nail on the head, right? It shouldn't be a problem for storytellers who are also gamers. The problem is we're getting storytellers who are not gamers. We are getting tourists. We talk about this all the time. It's a word that we've used on Hypnocast every single night at 9 p.m. Eastern on our live stream. We talk about the fact that a lot of these people who are writing articles right now, a lot of these people who are developing games in the West right now, a lot of these writers who are writing these stories, they are tourists. They're not actually fans of video games. They actively hate what they're working on. They don't like the fact that the only job that they've been able to get has to do in the gaming space. If it was up to them, they would get a job talking about some sort of political thing. But unfortunately, they can't do that right now. So they have to do it in video games. They don't like what they're working on. The anime localizers don't like what they're working on. All these woke idiot writers who are working for Western development studios don't like what they're working on. They all don't like it. So they actively push their hatred towards this IP, towards this medium, because they feel like people in this medium space are bigots, are sexist, are transphobes, whatever, and that's because their ideology takes precedence over everything. It says, enter Sweet Baby Inc., a company that seemingly fits the bill, yet a closer look at their mission statement reveals a different narrative. Now, this is why I wanted to talk about this particular article, because it does have some good information about Sweet Baby Inc. Here is their actual mission statement. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Well, the only thing you did was the inclusive part. And even then, you really didn't even make it inclusive. You are essentially just adding the same kinds of people and excluding everybody else. You are not really about inclusivity. You're not really about diversity. You're definitely not about diversity of thought. You just want to hire and add who you want to add because that makes you look good and get your funding. That's basically it. The results speak for themselves. Did you wonder why Spider-Man 2 features a storyline where you could play as a deaf girl creating graffiti poems of BIPOC authors? Sweet Baby Inc. And what about Alan Wake 2, where a playable character was race swapped for an empowered black female FBI agent, only to then deliver the room-level dialogue to tell us how empowered she is? Sweet Baby Inc. I'm glad I didn't even touch Alan Wake 2, and it's sad because I'm such a huge fan of the initial Alan Wake games, and I already knew when I saw the trailers for that game, I knew what it was going to be. I didn't even bother. It says it appears that Sweet Baby Inc. isn't in the business of crafting compelling narratives, but rather to shield developers from online activism and boost their ESG scores, even offering special counsel like sensitivity reading, which again, I don't understand how people have jobs to be sensitivity readers or sensitivity like I don't know why that even exists. That is the fakest job I've ever heard of. Too bad struggling writers like Fyodor, I can't say that name, never benefited from such consultations. Otherwise, we will remember their names. Sarcasm intended. What's particularly infuriating about Sweet Baby Inc. is its CEO explanation for the company's existence. While claiming to be a haven for neurodivergent individuals, Kim Blair's true intentions emerge with her discomfort for deadlines and schedules. Her storytelling innovations have been laid out on an episode of the Side Scrollers podcast. Now, is anybody surprised that Sweet Baby Inc., a company all about diversity, equity, and fake inclusion, is run by a woman? Anybody surprised by that? And probably a white liberal woman on top of that, which, again, nobody should be shocked. According to Belair, as a special neurodivergent writer, she shouldn't be bound by the constraints set by neurotypical people. Sometimes she just needs to write a script in an hour. She can't be bothered to write every day. For any writer, it becomes apparent that what Belair describes is a lack of writing stamina. Writing is a craft that requires improvement and honing over time. No writer starts with the stamina needed for professional level work, except perhaps L. Ron Hubbard, though his writings are also associated with many things. Quality is not one of them. In the end, it seems like Sweet Baby Inc. Lacks general effort to enhance storytelling in the gaming industry. As a CEO in a luxury industry in the first world country, starting sentences with "speaking as a marginalized person" reeks of entitlement and raises skepticism. I cannot stand when people start their sentence like that, speaking as a marginalized person. Just like this article said, you are a CEO of a company, right? A luxury company on top of that, in a first world country. Those two right there put you at the 1% of the world, and then you want to start off your sentence as speaking as a marginalized person? Seriously, I need you to sit down. Just sit down. Sit down really quick. Think about it for a second. Think about it. And then go fuck yourself. Okay, seriously, because everything you just said makes you sound retarded. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.